Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Half Hour. And I say this every episode. I'm so excited to share today's guest with you. Today, I have with us intuitive entrepreneur, one of my newer friends that I picked up in November. You guys know I like to collect humans, not in the creepy way, but I love humans. And I found an awesome one. Charlie Rose is on the show today. Welcome, Charlie.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I know, I'm so excited. And I'd love to share with the audience how we met because Bill's been on the show before in one of the episodes. I think it's episode 8. But Charlie and I met at the intuitive retreat that Bill Phillips held in was it November? With my
November,
best friend
December.
Monica. And then we had the three of us ended up hanging out and having a really good time. But Charlie and I really connected on a couple things. One, intuition and really leaning in and trusting our gut. That's why we were there. And then two, our business side. She's an entrepreneur. And in a side conversation we were having, she was really inspired by something that she heard, like serial entrepreneur. And she's like, I think that's me, but with a twist because Charlie is highly intuitive. And so learning to follow her intuition with entrepreneurship is something that I think a lot of people actually feel and don't act on. So, Charlie, I'm so excited to talk to you about all those things.
Yay, cool.
So, let's start with a little bit of a backstory. So, you're an intuitive, you're an entrepreneur. What's your backstory? How did you get to a point of embracing both?
How far back do you want me to go?
Up to
So
you, whatever you
there
feel
was
is relevant for the listener.
there was probably some early cues that I didn't recognize as someone that should be in the entrepreneur world. But growing up, I bounced from job to job to job. I didn't get fired or anything. I was just like, oh, yep, did that. Okay, what's next? And I would stay at a job maybe a few months, be like, okay, I did that. What's next? And I would have absolutely no problem finding another job. I would literally quit and find a job in the same day and bounce. And then growing up having kids, you really can't do that. You have to put your kids first and your family first.
Yes.
So I ended up becoming a massage therapist and I did that for 7 years. And I had the opportunity to go back to school. So I went back to school for nursing and I was hoping that the umbrella of nursing, because there's so many different avenues that you can do in nursing,
Sure.
I was hoping that I could find something that feed that drive that I had of always doing something different, the same but different. And even when I went into nursing, I would hop. And the interesting thing is, I found myself in nursing either working in life or death, like L&D, hospice, dialysis. It didn't matter what I chose. I was automatically drawn to those life or death jobs in nursing. And that really just kind of falls back into me spiritually as a person and my gifts that I have. And I never made a connection at the time. But I've always been very intuitive and had psychic abilities since I was a kid. So that's part of what makes me different and unique is being a psychic medium and being able to do tarot and all that. So I had advanced my career as much as I wanted to as a nurse, had kind of a mental breakdown
I
and
understand. Me too.
left nursing. And I swear I saw my husband's hair turn gray when I told him. I was like, I am leaving. I can't do this anymore. I was super unhealthy. I was super overweight. I was on FMLA for migraines. It just wasn't in my
Yeah, your
vibration.
body
It
was
was
telling
not,
you.
my body
Yeah.
was telling me, this is
Mm-hmm.
not where you're supposed to be. As an entrepreneur, I have two loves, and that is to follow my spirituality. And then the other one has always been real estate investing. And at the time, I had to make a decision. And I had done a small mentorship program, learning how to flip houses and stuff like that, how to calculate everything. But I was just like, what can I do right now? I'm going to go on a venture for myself. What can I do right now? So I decided to just open up down the street and I rented a place out and I picked a 3-room office space and I went into business for myself for massage and it just grew and it didn't take long
Love
to
that.
grow. And within months, I had a full massage schedule. I was not just doing massage, but doing Reiki and Reiki massages and energy work. I was doing readings for people, psychic tarot readings, mediumship. And I actually ended up teaching tarot. And those classes were a lot of fun. So I had a full schedule during the day. And then I was teaching tarot at night. And I had people asking me from the readings that I was doing, like, Charlie, why aren't you doing coaching? So actually honestly was doing coaching in my readings. I just
Sure.
didn't realize it. So I decided to take on that umbrella and educate myself on how do I pull this all together. And the name of the business at the time was Hedge Life Metaphysical Wellness Center. So here I am, just me, offering massage, Reiki, energy work, coaching, and tarot classes and things like that. So there's a longer story to that, but that's how it all started, really.
I love so much of that. And just to unpack it from the listeners, I think a lot of the audience, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we also have a lot of like corporate folks or careered people like nurses and teachers and first responders. And there's a whole, the audience is kind of wide. But I love what you shared as far as following your hops and the nudges to hop, because traditionally we've always been told like, you need to stay at a job for 2 years, 5 years, 20 years. That's like what came to us from our parents and their parents' generation. And I too have a tendency to get bored after 2 or 3 years. So if there isn't a opportunity for me to promote, change roles within the organization, I'm either starting a side business or I'm getting another job. Like I want to give the audience permission to know that it's okay if you're not the traditional path that's been shoved down to us.
And there's no such thing as rules. And
I
when I
love
was
that.
in
Go.
nursing, this is the one thing that would really honestly tick off a lot of the other nurses. And I've since found this out, like I'm a manifesting generator, right? So I've always been able to like do things other people can't do, create situations other people can't create. And I would end up getting positions in places that other nurses were like, how did you get that? You don't even have the right degree or the experience to get that. How did you get that? And I'm like, because that's what I wanted. And I don't have those roadblocks in my head that you do. And I didn't create that rule for myself. So maybe you should consider taking that rule out of your head.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a like mic drop for the listeners, because I have a saying too, like I like structure, but I hate rules because rules are meant to
Yes.
control, right? Like structure is good. I have ADHD. If I wake up at the same time every day and I have my routines, I function a lot better. But rules feel restrictive. I feel like it smashes creativity or what's possible. So anyway, Charlie, that was mic drop. Thank you for sharing that one.
No problem.
Yeah, you're like, yep.
I'm here for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, you've shared a little bit of your journey, but in this like makeup of the personality that you have being an intuitive entrepreneur, what would you say is like something that you've had to overcome to own that role?
Getting out of other people's expectations of who you have became. You're going to be so many different versions of yourself in life, and you are always going to grow. And so you're constantly going to break an eggshell, right? I'm breaking out of this shell, next shell. But when you're really, really connected vibrationally with your path and your power and like what you're doing in that moment and you're in alignment, people will fall in love with you and you will be the answer in my field anyways. When you do coaching and readings and things like that, the healing that you bring these people, the alignment that you help them find, they now have this expectation and vision of who you are. And it's really tough at first because it'll draw on your ego, be like, oh, this person loves me and needs me, and look at all the great that I'm doing for people. That person got to connect with their husband that passed 6 months ago. That person got to connect with their daughter that was in a car accident, right? Like, and they get to hear from their loved
Their loved
ones
ones.
again. So there becomes this part of you that's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to give to others. So I really got caught up in for a minute, like, this isn't what I want to do forever. Even though it's an amazing gift, this is not who I am. I still have other things to do in my life. And so I really had to make this decision, like, I'm going to break a lot of hearts and I'm going to break a lot of connections with people, but I had to make that decision to move out of that and to do something else and start building that next part of my life.
I love that you shared that, because there are a lot of, I have a big spiritual community that listens to the show too. And I think when we are tapped into our intuitive gifts, whether it's psychic or medium or both, it does feel sometimes like that might need to be the center of your business. And I have found a lot of success for people when it's not the spotlight, but it's part of them. It's just an authentic beacon within them that, like you said, it kind of is guiding you to what you need to do along the way. I still do oracle card readings, even though that's not my main jam. Sometimes it's for fun, or maybe I really do have a client where I need to like
Yeah.
pull that tool out. And I just really like that you gave permission for that just to be a part of you and not necessarily just because you have the gifts, the way that you make your money.
And the part of the story that's left out is I transitioned from like that wellness center. I ended up buying a yoga studio and I combined everything. And then my business became nothing but spirituality. And in that, I actually lost my spirituality. So I had to step back and realign and separate completely, like, this is business, this is my spirituality, and they just don't belong together right now. Once I did that, I was able to like access my gifts again. I was able to
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
enjoy, and going to Boone was one of the things that really, really helped me reconnect with that.
Oh, me too. I was hustling so hard in building this next version of myself and what I want to do from a career perspective and how I want to share my message and make impact. And I was starting that whole platform. I was really in connection very strongly with the business side of myself, but that spiritual side of myself, I kind of took the back seat. And I went to Boone too because I was like, she needs to be part of this journey too. Wouldn't it be nice if we both got to play?
Yeah, you have to find that balance with your masculine and your feminine. And it's so easy, especially for me, because my South Node is in Aries. And it's so easy for me to just fly into masculine all the
Me too.
time. And I can live in that, but I can't function in it for a long period of time. So you have to ring it back and be like, where's my balance of masculine and feminine? Like, where am I at?
I love that. So I want to pivot into my next question for you. And we might have touched on it a little bit, but what is like a current aha or lesson that's up for you right now that you could share with the listeners?
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what I've learned. The second you are comfortable, no longer growing, no more growth. And I'm so hard on myself. And I think a lot of people are probably really hard on themselves for
Yeah,
some of the decisions that we've made. And there's decisions that we make that have consequences, and it doesn't make them bad decisions based on the consequences. It just means it didn't feel good. And it doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to happen either. It just means it doesn't feel good and it didn't have the outcome that we wanted. Like, I've made some decisions that were really big, expensive consequences, right?
sure.
And I really like my aha moment in one of those is I have to let that go. I cannot hold on to that. I won't be able to move forward. I got to put it on the back burner, let my ego just let it go and move on. Life happens for me, not to me.
I
Right.
love that you shared that because women, particularly, we punish ourselves and especially over choices that have gone bad. And I just love what you shared so much because one of the things that I love to share too is I'm a firm believer that we make decisions based upon the information we have at the time and that we don't go into decision making like wanting to screw everything up and make the worst decision possible, you know? And
Yeah.
so if you could just give your former self who made that decision some compassion, and then you get a chance to choose again.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It could very well be the best decision you could have made. You just don't like how it feels. And I will sit here and tell you that I've made some bad decisions and mistakes that don't feel good to me. But if I had not done those, there is no way I would be where I'm at with the knowledge, the understanding, the depth, the wisdom. I
Woo.
wouldn't be who I am. So I can't say that I regret them. They just still don't feel good. And I got to be okay with that.
I love that you shared that too, because again, I'm just like drawing on the women, and some men struggle with this too, but they're perfectionism. And so there's that layer too, is we not only beat ourselves up because we made a decision that didn't work out, but then we go and punish ourselves like, oh, I should have known better. Like, why did I do that? Instead of, I love how you said life's happening for me and not to me, because what if we are able to say, yeah, that situation was really shitty. However, I learned this, this, and this. And
Yeah.
the gifts I got out of it were fortitude, resilience, and grit. I don't know, but I'd like to reframe things because we have the opportunity to rewrite our stories and shift our perspective. So I think it's so
Yeah.
dope that you shared that.
I have to give that credit to one of my mentors, Daniela Warner. That was when I joined her program. That was like the first thing that she did off the bat was send us like this big written out thing. And the first thing that caught my eye was life happens for me, not to me. And I was like, wow, there's got to be room for forgiveness for some of the decisions that I've made. It's on my laptop. I see it every day.
That is awesome. So I want to ask you next, why are you passionate about merging the two worlds of spirituality, entrepreneurship, and why are you passionate about it? And how could a listener embrace that into their own life?
They're not separate. That's just it.
Boom,
They're
boom, boom. I'm like, yeah, baby, you said it.
yeah. So, and when people that don't actually give themselves time at home or in their quiet moments to embrace the quiet and to embrace that space and find a way to hold space for themselves or let someone hold space for them. We are all spiritual people. Whether you identify with it or not, you're a spiritual person. Life is going to give you what you vibrate out. So I have no choice but for the two of them to go together, especially me being who I am, intuitive, psychic, mediumship. I have no choice to lead both that way, especially when I mention the fact that I'm a manifesting generator. So I have to be very, very conscious and careful on what I think, because what I think will manifest 10 times faster than a normal person. You have different types of people in the world, manifesting generators.
I'm a
Projector.
spleen projector.
You're a
Yes.
projector, right? And so you have all these, we're talking about Gene Keys here, right?
Yeah, and human design people.
Human
That's
design.
what we're
Yeah,
talking
my
about.
bad. Human design. So that's why when I decide to like do things, they happen fast. So I have to make sure that I stay in vibrational alignment and make decisions based on the vibration that I'm feeling, that I'm doing, what my goals are. And I have a really good friend who's an astrologer. I'm always checking in with her, like, what's in my chart? What do you see happening? What's this year all about for me? So I just kind of like check all my boxes before moving forward, but they're never separate.
I love that because I think we do try to compartmentalize and then we feel stressed out because we're like, oh, something's not working. It's because you're dividing yourself. The truth is, we are multifaceted, right? And the more we give ourselves permission to be in all of our beingness, the more things work out. You'll see, I've experienced the more that I've just allowed myself to be all the things. That's when the miracle happens. So you were mentioning alignment. Like I can feel an alignment and a flow. You just can feel it. And then it's like I'll bump into somebody and then that person will connect me to the thing that I was wanting to work on. And it just, this like magic happens. So I love
Yeah.
that that's where you went.
Yeah. And you have to get out of your own way to allow things to happen sometimes.
So next up, if someone really took this concept and honed in on it, how could it empower their lives? Like, it is the empowered half hour after all.
You can be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. You just have to realize what that is. And sometimes you don't know, and it's okay not knowing. Most of us don't know because we're so used to being told how to live our life. Like,
Yes.
get out of school, go to college, get a job, do this, pay your bills. We do have to do those things to like make a living. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I need a roof over my head. I need clothes. I need food. But you really have to like try new things, figure out what it is you want to do. What is your purpose? What is your alignment? Talk to an astrologer who can do one of those amazing chart readings for you to figure out like what your purpose is and find out what your nodes are, your north node, your south node. What is your purpose here? And then stop arguing with yourself about what you think you know, about what you want and what you don't want, because you may have an idea that you like or don't like something, but if you've never done it, then you have no idea. Just go out and try new things, and then don't be afraid to make changes. You can't expect change to happen and not allow change to happen. So when you vibrationally start to change, the universe is going to shift everything around you. Once you align your heart and your head, there's more connections with our heart and our head than there is with our head from the rest of the body. So once you
Yes.
get these aligned, the universe is like, oh yes, let me help you. It will start throwing things in your direction to give you exactly what's in an alignment with you. So you're going to start seeing people move out of your life. You're going to start seeing people move in your life. You're going to start having weird, quirky things happen. A job may come up. You may get fired from a job because it no longer aligns with your vibration, right? So when you ask for change, don't freak out because you asked for change, because all of a sudden you are in an area that you don't have control over anymore because you thought you had control when you did a 9 to 5 job. You did this, you did that. And control is always an illusion. We do our best, but it is an illusion no matter what. So that's what I have to offer. Like, if you really, really, really want to change your life, start figuring it out. Like, be open to things that are coming to you and experience it. One of the things that you can do is start visualizing things like, how do you want your life to look? It doesn't matter how you get it. If you want to live a life where you're traveling on a cruise ship from island to island, and that's what you want, then put that in your head. Start doing meditations and visual work on seeing yourself doing that, putting those clothes on. What are you wearing? What perfume are you wearing? What is the weather like? What does your hair feel like with the wind blowing in it, right? What are you stepping off onto? Is it sand? Those are the things that you can put into the universe through your thoughts. You don't need to do the why and the how. If that's what you want to experience, start visualizing that. Put that out. Tell the universe that's what you want to experience. Let the universe figure out the small details. Just say yes when it gives it to you.
I freaking love that, because from a psychology perspective, people always talk about athletes and they do a lot of visualization exercises and things like that so that they can see themselves doing those home run hits. Well, what Charlie was just mentioning is a complete visceral visualization where you're going into all the senses. She mentioned stepping on the sand, touching your hair, feeling the wind in your face.
All of them.
The more you can get all of your senses engaged in these visualizations and meditations that you do, like Charlie was saying, the universe starts supporting you in the most unexpected and miraculous ways. It's wild, and life becomes so much more fun.
Yes.
It really does.
They've done studies. The brain cannot tell the difference between reality and thought. If once you're in that zone, that in that meditation, that visualization, the mindfulness, the brain cannot tell the difference between what reality is and what you're thinking and visualizing, to the point where they've actually done a lot of advances in prosthetics now for people that like have lost limbs and things like that. They have them visualize in their brain moving their fingers that they no longer have. And now they can actually connect. They put these connections in the brain. They have prosthetic hands or feet or limbs or whatever.
They'll be able to move their fingers on it.
And they can fit. But not only that, here's the really cool part. This is how powerful the brain is. Not only that, but someone can touch the prosthetic pinky finger, ring finger, middle finger, thumb with that person's eyes closed, and they can feel it in their brain from making those connections in their brain, from them visualizing it.
Powerful.
The brain cannot tell the difference. So you can create whatever reality you want to create. The thing is, be careful what you create. Make sure you visualize positive things.
Very true. I'm like, wanted to say like 3 things at the same time.
We get together. I'm so squirrel every time.
I know. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And I look at the time. I'm like, oh my God, 3 minutes left. So what I want to do is like, Charlie, no, it's fine. I don't care about that. But what I was going to say was, I want you to share one more Charlie nugget of wisdom with the audience. Like, what would be a closing message or a closing thought that you could share?
I don't know. Ask me another question. What else do I want to share?
Yeah.
Just love who you are. Fall in love with yourself. If you don't like your life, you don't like who you are, that is a big wake-up call. Start shifting. Who do you want to be?
Woo! Yeah, I got the goosebumps. That's the way to end it, baby. Like, yeah. So, Charlie, I would love for you to share with the audience how they can find you and stay in touch with you on social.
Oh, Lord. So that would be really cool if I actually had plans like that. I have a personal Facebook page, of course, called Charlie Rose. I have a spa that I have. It's called Body Soul Spa. So if anybody wants, we don't do readings anymore. I no longer own Head to Life Metaphysical Wellness Center. I own a spa called Body Soul Spa. If you want to come get massages and facials and some Reiki and energy work, we do that there. I do have a Instagram and Facebook page that literally has nothing on it yet. I'm trying to align with what to do with it without losing my spirituality again. It is called Charlie Rose Channeling. I do plan on doing something with it. I'm just not sure how to move forward with it. I don't want it to be squirrel like me. And I also have started another business in real estate investing. I will be doing everything under the sun in real estate investing, creative financing, anything like that. I'm here to rescue people.
That is awesome. Do you have an Instagram handle for your personal?
For the personal,
No,
it's
just
my personal Instagram is Charlie Rose underscore body sold Jacks, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I think we'll have it in the show
Yeah.
notes too. But I invite you to follow Charlie on Instagram. We have a lot of Instagrammers on the show. She has a really cute dog, but she also shares nuggets of wisdom when they come up. So if you've enjoyed the things that she's shared today, follow Charlie because, again, she's an intuitive entrepreneur. The journey over the next 10 years, like, Lord knows what we will
Things
see.
change and happen so fast with me. Yes.
So I'm so excited. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes.